Welcome back to our continuing video series of the Wizard 101 10th anniversary, where the last video we gave you a sneak peek kind of teaser of what we wanted to talk about in this video, and now we're here to do that, and it's going to be all about Imperia Part 2.
I am so excited to share more about Imperia Part 2. We've been talking about it for a long time and hinting, and hey, now we're going to really talk about it, right?
Yeah, we have, and we are very thankful to you for being with us on this 10-year journey.
Yeah, I mean, we had an opportunity to speak with the writing team about Imperia, and this is what they had to say about it.
My favorite thing about being a writer here is KingsIsle's commitment to story. We then get to work with everybody else. Once we have it down on the page, who are these people? What do they look like? What do they move like? Where do they live? You know, we get to work with everybody else to help make that happen.
We can write a lot of words, but if it's not interesting to look at, it's easy to just spam through it. As a player, I don't like to sit and listen to somebody talk at me.
I do.
The cinematic system, we have this beautiful art that an artist spent days, weeks, months on. I want to show you that person, and now we've gotten tech updates so that their eyes move, their mouth moves, and they're emoting, so the characters are emoting even though it's just pixels. It's now feeling the words. And then couple that with fantastic voiceover art, and I hope it makes a more immersive world for the players, which is our end goal, is to make a world for people to come and play in and not want to leave.
Back in the very, very beginning, there wasn't much of anything. I mean, you had the balloon ride in Marleybone, and you had that crazy dragon flight in Dragonspire, and that pretty much broke the back of the dev team to get those done. It had to be a custom case. They had to invent the way to do it. And now, you know, it has gradually grown. And I think, I remember when I played Chrysalis, I was suddenly taken quite aback that a little dramatic scene played right in front of me, and then we resumed, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
I really, really, really like to get as many ideas as possible and then talk about it and then throw it out and then come back to it. And it's very frustrating because you're like, but we had a really good idea. Why are we going to something new? That's kind of how the process of Imperia as a whole worked, which is kind of why there's an Imperia Part 2. There were so many places we wanted to go, so many things we had to do to do service to the story, to the characters that we've inherited, and in some respects, like with Raven and Spider.
Raven and Spider are the two chief god entities of Wizard 101. Grandmother Raven is light and order. Grandfather Spider is shadow and chaos. Over the course of Arc 3, the Wizard has realized that those distinctions don't necessarily map to good and evil. And by the time Imperia Part 2 begins, we're in a situation where Raven and Spider are really angry at each other, and they're prepared to fight it out, and they don't care if the entire universe is lost as collateral damage. Either of these entities could unravel existence if they felt like it. So how do we deal with this when, you know, we can't? The notion of going toe-to-toe with either of them is ridiculous because they're cosmic and we're a wizard. Well, you know, they could just do that and you'd be dead. You know, and so how do we steer the story where we can bring the drama through it and just not have them end it in a second? Why are they not ending it in a second? It's pretty much a direct continuation from Part 1, you know. We always do a sort of thing where, you know, you turn in the quest and then the guy's like, well, come see me later. We pick up with the narrative immediately, and something is going to happen within that first scene that has never happened before in the 10-year history of 101. If I were to say what it was, it wouldn't seem that earth-shaking, but it's a pretty big deal. And that's why we latched onto it. We're like, yeah, and that's going to happen.
When you have a story coming to an end, you have certain characters that get...
Don't say it. Don't say it.
We can say who it is, right? Can
Don't
we say who it
it.
is?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm saying it. So at the very end,
I'll give you a hint. Because of one of the places we get to go and the accent that those people have, it's not something that has come up in Wizard before. And it's a very well-suited accent for comedy. And as a result, I think we got some really fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. All right.
That was a great look at the creation of the story behind Imperia Part 2.
Absolutely. Isn't Sam a great storyteller?
He is. He really drew me in there.
Yeah, and it was really neat to get a behind-the-scenes peek at how we create our cinematics.
After our amazing writing team creates the story, it's then up to the designers to really bring it to life.
Yes, for example, the writers had created a great sports rivalry in the competing Aero Dwarf towns in Imperia Part 2, and then design took that and brought it to life in a full 3D multiplayer minigame.
And here's some of our design group to talk about it.
This is the paper prototype for Whirly Burly that we've put together as a team. We wanted to make a new and interesting type of game to put into Imperia Part 2 that would tie in with the story of the Aero Dwarfs. And instead of making a Shock-a-Lock or Lava Lock like we did in Imperia Part 1 or the dance game, we wanted to make something that was multiplayer and could be enjoyed by more people.
After some initial prototypes, the game of Whirly Burly has kind of come into focus for us.
One of us came up with the board, and then we said, okay, it's a team of 3 on all sides. How do we want the rules to work? What's the objective? So we came up with, okay, capturing tiles. All right, we can capture tiles, that's easy. How do we get there? Okay, what's movement like? So we came up with cards, and then cards is movement. Okay, now what else? Introduce some randomness, make it ordered enough that players can understand the rules, and then we play it until it's fun. And this allows us to do it without having to get a programmer to code everything and then jump in and go, oh, this is the worst game ever. Let's just throw all that out the window.
And we've gone through a couple different board sizes in the beginning and different types of movement, like you said.
And then at this stage, once we're feeling good about it, we turn it over to the artists and the programmers to implement it into the game, and then we'll see how well the paper prototype translates to the digital game. 3 teams facing each other and trying to win the match by claiming as many tiles on the grid and capturing enemy players and treasure chests.
Treasure chests right now are candy because I accidentally took the treasure chest home.
I know we have a very big story planned for Imperia, some big events that are going to happen, and I hope that players will, after they've seen the story, they'll still want to spend time in Imperia and come over to the Whirly Burly arena and play some Whirly Burly with their friends.
And I'm going to make a lot of badges for it. So
I'm a huge fan of board games, so it's really cool for me to see a 3D game on the computer really brought to life from the conception of a 2D board game stuff.
Yeah, it's a really neat insight into the design process. I mean, it's much easier to prototype a game like this on paper and make sure it's fun and balanced before a programmer even starts on it.
Now let's peek into the design process as a whole.
We talked to some of the Wizard design team about what they do and what they love.
I love putting the worlds together. I love putting them in, getting everything set up, working correctly, and seeing the players enjoy it. I think the environments are unique and special. Hearing the writers talk about it and what it's intended with the whole zone just seems like really cool. Wanted to dig in and get implementing and putting it in, making it happen. I'm excited to see Whirly Burly in the game. So and that's going to be in one of the cities in Aeroplane. So
it all revolves around Aeroplane, it sounds like.
For me, it does.
There's like cool puzzles and then, just lots of fun stuff. And then also, I think there's going to be some cool stuff with maybe visiting some characters in combat that you haven't before. I love customizing characters, and I was so happy that we got rainbow hair. Love rainbow hair, obviously. I was really excited about the Unicorn Horde pack, which I helped design. I was so jazzed about it. I love unicorns, I love plushies. So it was kind of like, I was so jazzed about it. And everything turned out just amazing, like just how I imagined it. So it was pretty cool.
I really love when I put a pack together and it just comes out exactly the way I want. Where it's rewarding, I have a lot of good stuff in it and the players get to open it and they get that excitement and they get the things they want out of it. If I do my job right, that's what should happen. I also love making custom loot tables for the bosses. I know in other games they have like just one big table and everything drops and everything can drop everything, and we don't do it that way. I try to touch just about every main creature or boss and make sure that they have something unique and a reason for you to go fight them over and over again. This year's been really exciting. We had the pet hatching come out, or the hatchery, the update to Wizard City, and we have Imperial Part 2, and it's our 10th year anniversary, and all these things coming together has just been a fantastic time.
We've done a lot of work with the game cinematics, just ways that we can set the cinematics up so that they're more engaging, and we have, I guess, new scripts, new triggers that we can fire in the game editor so that characters can move around. We can have different effects appear in the cinematics. I mean, just things that just make the experience feel more alive. Well, I'm really excited about the story. I think Imperia, the second half of Imperia it's got some great characters. It's got some big moments. I am definitely looking forward to seeing it on the screen.
Creative process. I love it. Talking with our designers about new features, coming up with new features, implementing those features into the game so that we can make sure that whatever that is as fun as possible and is as easy to use as possible. That to me is the most fun about this job. This, every player will know as Medulla's brain chamber, where they fight him for the last time. It doesn't look too much like the actual chamber, but what we do as designers is we make a top-down of every zone that has combat in it. And so we give artists the general shape where important things need to be, like combat circles, like interactable objects. And then we give it to them and allow them to be as creative as they can with it. Well, currently, I'm working on the last part of Imperia Part 2. It is the culmination of the entire story. So big fights, big reveals, everything comes to a head in this particular zone that I'm working on. So I would say all of what I'm working on right now is really exciting for myself and anyone that wants to play it.
We're really excited to be able to give you a sneak peek of Imperia Part 2 and a little bit of behind-the-scenes information about how it was made.
Keep watch on Wizard101.com and all of our social media pages as we gear up for the test realm.
Yes, we're really excited to share it all with you when it's ready.
In the meantime, keep watch as we also work on Part 4 of this video series. We have not only a little bit more about the game itself, but a little bit from the community as well we hope to put into the video.
Cool. That'll be awesome. Well, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.